Bringing you your favorite new MCs, it's Dormville.
What? Best move the fuck out my way. Move. Trvy top list of the greats. Yeah. Feeling like Caesar and Palace. They want to sip from the chalice.
What's good, everybody? It's Dormville. I'm your humble and gracious host, Mike Hood, with my co-host.
Yo, Backstage Phantom.
And with us, we got Trvy the rapper. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How y'all doing, man?
Yo, blessed, bro. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who don't know, Trvy is straight out of Georgia, bro. The god of destruction of rap. You know what I'm saying? Coming with that Hakai like his name is Beerus. You feel me? We're here to talk about Aura today. Let's just jump into it, bro. So, just starting off the whole thing, obviously, whenever we talked over the summer, we talked about how Aura was kind of set up in seasons based on, like, anime. Like, what led you to make that decision of, like, you know what, like, let's do this shit like it's like an anime and do seasons?
I think it was, I don't know, man. It's really like, I've always just been an anime person. That's like always been my preference of how I like to like storytelling, I guess. I like the way people tell stories with anime because it's a little less real than movies, but it's a little more surreal than real life, you know? And it's one of those things where like I like episodic things. I like the idea that things can, like, you get one song and it tells a whole story, but it might be part of a bigger picture. And
Right.
I think it just came out that way, like, from my love of the way anime works, really.
So whenever you were sitting down, like you sat down and decided like this is gonna be like the title of the project, this is the way that I want it to go, like picking songs and whatnot, did you like start to pick like, all right, the first season is gonna be like this level of character development for like yourself being the main character, and then season 2 would end up being like fighting a big bad, or like kind of like, have you structured it already, or is it just kind of gonna be whatever happens when you're in the mix?
I think the structure started happening after I dropped it, because the way I organically came across these ideas, like I put this project together probably like 3 or 4 times, and it just never felt right until I started like embracing a lot of like the way that I intake entertainment. Cause like I've always had this problem with how people like, I guess I just had this idea that people just kind of throw their music out there.
Yeah.
And that's never been me. And I didn't want it to feel like I was doing that. So like I kept trying to figure out ways that like felt right. And then finally when I landed on this, it all starts falling into place. Like the name, I found the name out months after I'd already decided what it was gonna be. Like it just kind of, one day I was just like doing something and then it hit me. And then the cover art specifically between me and my girl, like my girl draws all my cover art. Shout out XL Shorty, but she does all my cover art. And like, I just remember talking to her about this idea of like, cause the album, I guess when it comes thematically away from like it being an anime, it's a story of like being self-aware.
Yes.
And like really like finding myself in these moments where I'm realizing these decisions I make impact so much more. Like each episode I'm making decisions where like I know that it's going to impact me 4 or 5 years down the line. And it's like I organically just found all that with like telling her the cover art and then being like, oh whoa, this idea kind of fits, and then this. So now that I have all that in like the first project, I think it's kind of making me gear my mind towards, okay, now if I'm going to go sequels with it, how do I keep it an organic to me and tell a bigger story?
Right. You talked about like whenever you were writing it, or not writing it, but putting it all together, it's like every episode is a choice and like a sequence. What were some of like the bigger outlying choices that you were like, this needs to be its own song, or this like ended up turning into its own song?
Well, there's like, I mean, a part of it is like crazy because during the making of this album, I've kind of like moved away from a lot of the bad things I was doing in my life. Like, I don't drink as much. And when I say as much, I used to drink a lot, and now I don't drink barely at all. And I think that's actually one of those feelings that come from when you hear the song Switching Sides. it's almost like a drunk anger at everything that's going on around me. Like I'm having to pay bills and work and do all this stuff. And I wasn't actually drunk, but like when I got drunk, that's what I would feel. I would feel that like, all alone, nobody loves you type anger. And then it just kind of like manifested itself into that song. And it's like at the a lot of the times I think people, the big bad in the whole project is myself. So like when I'm like yelling, and I'll be addressing the room when I say these rappers be acting delusional, like I'm talking to me,
Okay.
like myself. I'm telling myself like I be acting delusional sometimes. And when I'm out there in that moment of like what I call like I guess the flow of it all, like like when you're doing something and you get lost in your brain and
you're just kind of sitting there by yourself and you're just kind of like, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, it just becomes that automatic like. I honestly, man, I liken it to like when characters are powering up in anime, when people are powering up in movies. There's like those couple seconds where time seems to stop.
Yeah, and it's just them by themselves doing like not even like a monologue, but kind of just that like.
Exactly. No,
it
exactly.
Just gives that level of like power, or just like it gives it all to them at that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where like that's where those choices culminate for me. It's like I take that idea, all those ideas of like hating how I have to pay bills and work a day job, but feeling like I have all this talent, but also telling myself like, yo, you're not as big as you think you are. And like that's really why the project's so crazy to me, because it's just the same battle of like, who are you and what are you doing here? And with myself, but it feels so relatable because I feel like we all do that all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I kind of lost the question in that, but it was just more like it's this project, or it was my first like I guess real album. Like I took everything I had and put it at something, and it just kind of defined me as a person. Like whoa, like that's how I'm gonna work from now on. Is like letting it find itself, but also keeping that like knowledge that I have a weird duality of like being the cockiest motherfucker in the room and the most humble motherfucker in the room at the same time.
You dipped into a little bit about well, when we were setting up your Artist of the Week bio on our page, you talked about how this album took like 3 to 4 years to develop. So yeah. I kind of want to ask you about like what sort of real, like when you're throwing songs into the cutting room floor, like what real life events or what real life events went into like those sort of decisions that sort of like helped you grow as an artist and an individual?
What a big part of it, man, was I was living at a house with all my homies, all the artists. It's like it was a house that kind of became mythical around the town, and it was called Murder House. And that's actually what it was on South Poplar Street, which is the last song on the album. But the whole like I was living there, and it was with a whole bunch of people, and we were always making art. And then you realize that you grow kind of because it was like a party house, And then we all started growing at the same time, and everybody wanted to get away from that life. So we're making those choices to try and transition out of being a party house. And then like you start having fights with your brothers who are like the artists around you. And like you're making choices, business choices, and you're making personal choices. And really all that defined what songs made it. Because some days I would be talking like on some songs that didn't make it, I would just be going in about these inner turmoils that we would have amongst ourselves that we keep private. You know what I mean? And like I'm one of those people that believes like no matter what you say in a song, it's part of the art. So you kind of have to leave it raw a little bit. So you might say some things that you don't mean in the moment. And that's where like I'll listen to those songs and be like, okay, I really didn't mean it like this, and it came out this way. So it's like, so I need to cut this part, or I need to make sure this song just it comes across a different way. Because like there was defining fights, and I mean that like just you're looking at 8 other artists who want to do the exact same things that you're doing, and you want to do what they're doing, and you're like, you're just like beating each other's egos up trying to figure it out to get it like a perfect product. And that's when I was inside the yard. Like we're just competitive, and we love each other, and we fight like that to try and get the best product. So like we were living there, and then we in the time that I was making this project, we moved, and I moved completely out of the house towards the end of the project. And it really did change the way I put the project together, because their project was a lot angrier, and not towards the group or anything. It was angrier just because I had more songs about times where I was fighting with people, whether it be in my group, whether it be acquaintances, whether it be girls. You know what I'm saying? Like I had all these like crazy, just crazy songs, and it was a lot angrier at once. And then like once I removed myself from like the drinking and a lot of the people, like of the core group, all the artists that live together, we're still a complete family together. But like there were some people who were around who you knew weren't there for the right reasons, you know?
It was just kind of like that, oh, well, everyone else here is kind of doing well or doing something that I want to do, so let me just jump on the bandwagon type deal.
Yeah. We had a lot of people that were like at one point we would go downtown, and people were claiming our group who had never even been to our house. And like and then they would come around, and everybody would try to be a part of it. And really it was just like we were trying to figure out, because the Yard, this was my first solo project in 2 years, but I'd been putting it together before that. But the Yard had a project come out in 2018. So that's where the song Sober came from, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one. But that was the song that actually started the whole trajectory for me to do a solo project. Like to actually put it together, you know? Because I'd always been putting it together in my head. But like once I saw the response for Sober inside the group, which was Sober was like the song that I had the most on, you know, like it was my concept, my hook, you know what I mean?
It was like, that was your first, like, this is who I am, this is my project, like, this is my song.
This is my sound. Yeah. And it was like, that was kind of the reason. After seeing the response to that, I was like, okay, I have to sit down and finish this project that I've been working on for 3 years, you know? And like, it's just one of those things, like the defining moments were always the ones where like, for me, it's always like, I guess I make music about moments that have happened in the past a lot. Like I'm writing songs right now about things that I experienced 2 years ago, you know? So it's like the defining moment was when I finally moved out, and me and my team, like the people who were really down to do it, we all just kind of sat down and was like, okay, let's work on these projects that we need to get out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now I could go back and analyze everything and be like, okay, these are the moments I want people to see. Like Switching Sides. Like I said, that's my favorite song on there. And it's really just it's that drunken anger towards everything, the system, the people that are around that aren't supposed to be there, the people who claim they want to be there and they don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You talked about like how all your music, or not all of it, but like a majority of your music is just kind of like looking back on past situations. I don't want to say a majority of the songs in the project, but a good amount of them, you reference like small bits of depression or bouts of depression, and like what is that? I don't want to say what's that like, because obviously like it fucking sucks. But like, why did you think that was just like something that you needed to put in your music?
I think I was always scared to talk about depression because I didn't want people to get sad.
Yeah.
Like I always had this idea that if I put out these sad songs, it would inherently make people sad. Right. But it was actually, my mom died when I was 21. And right after she died, it was like 8 days after she died, I recorded this song that I don't even have anymore. But I had let someone hear it, and he just burst out in tears. Like one of the toughest dudes I know. He just like started crying. And it made me aware that like people want to share in that idea.
Yeah.
Because they know, they feel it too, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say that like whenever I would listen to it, it wasn't that like, oh, like this shit makes me sad. It's like, damn, somebody else kind of feels the same way that I felt, or like in a similar manner. So it kind of makes you. It feels like you're another. Like there's another person going through what you're going through. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's part of my songwriting process is like I'll write things too specific and then have to make them vague, like make them more vague, not because I'm dumbing it down, but it's because I want the most people to feel what I'm feeling right there,
Mm,
you know? So it's
yeah.
like, I think I started doing more songs about depression because I learned that, you blame it on a lot of things. Like when I was younger, my mom was sick and we blamed it on that. And then I got older and she was gone and I blamed it on, girls and just being lonely. And then it's weird because now after growing for so long, I've come to understand that I just get sad. And I mean sad like I have crippling moments where like some days I wake up and I just don't want to do this. And that's clinical depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's like some days I wake up and just tell my girl, I was like, what if I die today? Like, what does it matter? Like, and I think if I didn't put that in music, I'd kind of be lying to people. They would always get this. I guess if I didn't say that, hey, the sadness is here, I feel like people wouldn't see it because of the way that I rap. I can sound angry all the time.
Yeah.
And I can hide it in the way my voice sounds because I'm good at my voice control. But sometimes people just like they want to hear that. And I think that's important to me. It's important to like let them know that I'm not going to hide. I'm going to say exactly what I feel when I feel it.
Right. Yo, and like I guess like another thing coming off of that, one of the other like key, I won't say key elements, but one of the like the more predominant elements in the project was gonna be that you talked a lot about like your battle with religion after your mom's passing and just kind of in general.
Yeah, I actually now I grew up very religious and not very religious, but we went to church and church was like that's how I met people. We met at church but my uncle was my pastor and he actually committed suicide when I was younger and that pulled me out of church very fast. Um, and then like when my mom died, I had this vague like agnosticism about me
Mm-hmm.
and I just like realized that I don't believe. I guess the way that I put it to people, like, and the reason I talk about it in music so much is, for me specifically, I really don't care what happens when I die. Like, I'm just here. I'm on this plane right now,
Right.
and I'm
It's the immediacy, like right now, right? Like right now is what matters rather than like what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's like, and even like some people would be like, well, you're not thinking about the future. It's like, no, I'm thinking about the future of this place and where we are.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like I struggle with that a lot because like I get I don't I don't want to say annoyed. I get aggravated when conversations turn too much towards what's gonna happen when we die. And I not like, oh, this is dumb, but it's like I get that thought in my head that just nags me over and over. It's like, what's gonna happen if we don't do anything right now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
It's
if we
like
just
why worry about like, oh, if I die then I'm going here or there rather than like, well, if I don't help somebody out or if I don't like be the best person I could be, you know what I mean?
yeah, no, 100%. And it's like I think I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm a good person. I don't know if the bad and the good equal to each other out. It's like I'm just like out here trying to make sure that like I'm doing as good as I can now that I understand where I am and what I am. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even start taking music serious until late into my 20s and it's like only because I always like kept saying I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it and then never did it. And then one day I just realized that like this is me, this is all I'm going to do, so I might as well just do it.
Right.
Right.
Going off of that track in track 5, Atlas, you say talked to God and Lucifer and found they all the same. Do you want to elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean by that?
I just think that like I think that the names and it's a little, I guess it gets convoluted in my brain a little, but it's like I I I went through religion and then I went through the absence of religion, and I realized that but any religion, anything I've ever read about religion, anything I've ever read about anything that gives good and evil a name, it's always just everybody's just trying to find the balance between the two.
Right.
And it's like that was kind of the line. The line in my head was just I talked to God and Lucifer, and I found that it really is just the same. Everybody just wants to be balanced. Like they want to be, I guess not bad, but they want to be just enough on this side and just enough on that side to make everybody happy. That's kind of like what I feel like everybody kind of wants in a way. But it's like I don't get the point of worrying about infinite evil or infinite good. I just
Right.
like it goes back to that. Like I want to be good right now. And for me as a person, I have to kind of I'm one of those people that like if I'm going to believe in something, I'm going to tackle it head on. So like if I was a religious person, I would literally be in religion. I would read the Bible or read whatever religious text made sense to me. But it's like I kind of take that energy and just apply it to music because it's what I'm good at, and I think it's how I can spread the message a little bit.
Yo, I know like Mike and myself had the conversation probably like maybe like freshman year of high school. Screw that now. College. So it was like what, like 2 years ago, and we talked about just kind of being like everyone kind of fights over like, oh well, you got to do this or you got to do that, and then it's like at the end of the day it really shouldn't matter because it's like, yo, be a good person, don't walk outside and like fucking slap someone's drink on the ground because that's like just being a dick for no reason. And it's just kind of like if
And
you
find your balance. Like
yeah
find what like I know we get angry, we're humans, we're emotional, but it's like for me it's almost like learning to think before you speak. You just have to take a second and look at the situation, and you'll find your middle ground as to where you're good. And I'm not saying that like there aren't reasons to get real passionate or real intense about things, but just for me, I guess what it comes down to is like religion in itself, or at least organized religion in itself, is not where people should find their balance.
right
But I think that I have all these thoughts about groupthink and how being in a room full of people that affirm how you think kind of makes it crazier for you. You know, like I just feel like humans are really strange because we will get together in a group, and if we all affirm the same thing, it starts to become real.
right. It turns into if someone says blue is red, and then if everyone's like, oh, I don't want to be the one that's different, then everyone just starts to confirm the idea that blue is red, turning
Yeah.
it into like a whole like
Turning
entire
it into
problem.
a spiritual conversation
Right,
or
right.
something. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I just told the homie this, and I know, like, I be saying, like, I'm on a podcast and I be saying wild things sometimes. But I told the homie this. I was like, I really am one of those people that, like, if I could think and talk about music all day, I would.
Facts.
Because it just seems so simpler to me.
Yes.
You know, like, it seems like I was put here to worry about these motherfucking bars. But I mean that in like we were just getting deep in a conversation. I was like, man, I would so much rather talk to you about why freaking the new school of rapper is different than the old school rapper than I would about why people make good and bad choices, you know? Like it's just one of those things where like maybe it's just me being tired of it, you know?
Nah, bro, that's like that's a real thought. I know, like whenever like, if I go talk to my girl, it's like I'll show her an entire album and I'll be like, this song and this song, you like, this is why you gotta listen to like this one this way and like da-da-da, and like just kind of like go through some shit, and then she'll just be like, okay, because she's like she likes music, but it's not like the same like enthusiasm and inspiration. But like, bro, other day she was reading the book for one of her classes and was just like, I mean, shorty was going off. Like, I was like, okay, like I don't understand anything that you're talking about, but you know what, you happy about this, like this is your lane. Like when people find that, like once you find that thing that makes you happy, like be it music, art, like fashion, books, like whatever, theater, like once you find that shit, like that's where just that, like that dopamine and that all that stuff just starts firing off in your brain and you're just happy and just going.
And I think a thing of it is like, I guess that's what I mean when I say find your balance. Is like, you just, once you get into the zone, I think, and for me it's on stage really, like the end point for me a lot of the time is to get to the stage, like do a good show, because I'm not very confident in a lot of things, just as nobody is very confident in a lot of things, but I do think that like I can control the crowd very well.
Okay.
And I think that moves me in a way that it's hard to describe. Like, but like music, that's where music started for me. Like I remember hearing records and all this stuff, but the first time I saw like a local band perform, I was literally just hooked. I was like, okay, this is what people be doing. And then I saw like, it's funny, my progression to music was like freestyle battling, like seeing people just sit there and spit rhymes. I was like, oh, this is music. Like this is where we at, man.
This is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was like, this is the world that I'm in. Like I was actually thinking about that today, man. There's some people in this world who don't listen to music daily. And that is more unfathomable to me than almost any like crazy shit, like aliens. You know what I mean? Like, it just blows my mind that some people don't. My girl said it too. Like, it blows our mind that people don't like music,
bro. Because it's like, this is a lane in which like music is so, it can either be taken as like therapeutic, or it can just be taken as like, some people that like I hang out with will just like turn shit on, and then it's like other people will turn it on to listen to the lyrics and like go on about like that. But it's like it's like a large part of culture, just like in any society.
Oh yeah, I think it definitely. I mean, you might even argue that like humans knew of like music before they knew of language, because like birds sing,
right?
You know,
right.
like I don't know the history of it, but it is something so different. And so like, that's why I'd be so thankful. Like when I be talking about music, it's just like, man, the fact that I'm marginally talented at this just means the world to me, you know? And I think that's where I tackle a lot of things, like why I put things in my music, why like I feel like I have to say things. And like, bro, I record so much. I have like hundreds of songs that just won't ever see the light of day. But it's just what I do. Like I sit down at my microphone. My girl said one time, she was like, the longer you go without your studio, like we went for like a month where I didn't have access. She said, I get really, really like an addict. like I started
there fiending, bro.
Well, nah, she said I literally just won't pay attention in conversation. And then like the moment I can sit at my studio for a couple hours, I like become a different person. And it's like, it really is. Like you said, it's therapy. To me, it's therapy as much as it is entertainment and everything else, you know?
Bro, I feel like it's been almost 4 months since we like had an interview, bro. And I was like, bro, school starting. I was like, bro, fuck this. Like, I really am not trying to go to class right now. Like, fuck you niggas. Like, everybody wants me to do something. Like, everybody wants to hang. I'm like, no, I just need to like sit down. And then I was like, bro, this is the weekend. We finna get all these interviews in. Like, I don't care. Like, I will turn my phone off. Like,
yeah, you got to though. You gotta like lock in on yourself,
bro. Cause like this shit, like this right here, like just having like these conversations and being able to talk to like people such as yourself and like all of our other artists is like this the shit that makes me so happy, bro. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I mean like it's funny because me, I just be talking, like I just be like going off on tangents, but I think it's because I don't write any of my lyrics anymore. It's all literally just stream of conscious, and it's like I think that that's bled into my conversation where I just start finding a rhythm and I start talking just all day. That's how I got on this podcast we started. And it's like, bro, I don't even know. But now I'm trying to learn like the music business side. Like I'm trying to learn how to do songwriting because I got homies. My homies just did the Missy Elliott joint.
Facts.
And yeah, they did the homie Willie and Mikey, they did Throw It Back and another one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like I'm trying to explore that avenue. I never even thought about writing for like other people, and then I realized that like that's a whole different like avenue that you can explore, like getting into a room with someone and helping them find what they need to say.
Right.
So it's like that. I'm excited to start doing that and do that more as well.
So would you say like the end goal isn't to be like have your name plastered across like screens and teleprompters and all that? It's just kind of like to be in the industry doing what you enjoy.
Well, somebody's gonna kill me for this, but I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I want a lot of money, but I want a lot of money because I have a lot of plans to do things that like I believe will enact some sort of like not for my soul, but for the idea of what I believe is good in this world. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not a personal thing. I want money because I've seen from the way I grew up, because we grew up pretty poor. I've seen the way the world, at least in my mind, I don't want to sound crazy, but in my mind, I've seen the way that I think the world's currency is going to go. And I've seen the way that I think that the world is going to move towards like how we treat people. And like, I want to get to a place of being able to, if I think that that it's the wrong way, I can help influence it back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like my end goal has always been to like be successful. And I want to do huge shows. I want to, if my name never ends up in a marquee, like, you know, like Madison Square Garden, but I can do these shows and help people. Like, that's all I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I love performing. I love, don't get me wrong. Like we all have egos. We all have pride. I love when people tell me my shit is good, but it's like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get somewhere where like these ideas and these thoughts that I have mean something because I think that I'm on the right path. And that's why I think I sound crazy sometimes, because people will approach me in ways that'll try to diverge my path, and I will have to look at them and be like, yo, I fully believe in what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to keep going this way. You know, and it's because I do believe that I'm on a good path to my end game. And my end game, like one of the goals that I set for myself when I was like 16 was I want to open a music therapy studio for young kids, for kids in middle school, because that's where I experienced the hardest. That's where I've experienced the beginnings of my depression. And if I would have started my journey on a musical tip then, if I wasn't too poor to afford an instrument, or thought that we just couldn't do it, you know, like I thought we were so poor that like I couldn't ask to like join band. You know, I asked, and then it did turn out that it was kind of expensive, but like it took me weeks to even get the courage to ask, you know? And then that was just the beginning of like me learning in middle school just how hard life could be. And it wasn't it's crazy because it wasn't crazy. My life, I feel like my life didn't get crazy till after my mom died. But like knowing that as a young man and seeing that, and then growing up and realizing like if I could do this for young people, I will. You know what I mean? Like I want to start this music. I want to show young kids how I learned how to write music in middle school and how it benefited me, and maybe help them find a path that can get that same result, you know? And I want that to be nonprofit. So I'm speaking that into existence right now. That's just one of my goals. I know to get there, to get to a nonprofit of that stature, of how I want to do it, it's gonna take so much work, and that's so like when it's like, do I want my name up there? I don't really care. I just want to be able to get to those things. You know what I mean?
Right, just so that you're able to, and I feel like this more of a, I don't want to say noble, but like it's more of a, I don't want to say worthy. There's not, what's not the word I'm looking for, but it's more. It's an important goal.
It's one of those things where like I think people have those goals, and they have those goals, and then they might get success, and then it kind of like it wasn't their end goal.
Right.
But that's my end goal is to like I guess I could say like first off I really don't want to have kids, and I think that's a millennial thing that's happened. You know, like a lot of millennials don't want to have kids because of the way the world is and stuff like that, like global warming and all that. I kind of don't want to have kids, so that's not that's not like a goal that the only goal that I've ever seen is to help other kids, you know? Right. So that's something that's like my goal. And I think that people hear it and they're like, oh, that, like you said, it's not worthier or more noble. It's just like different. Like in terms of like, and I think our generation is doing it, the younger generation, where like it's not so different anymore because everybody's starting to kind of want to help each other.
Right.
And that's kind of the world I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a world where like maybe it doesn't matter if your name gets in lights because you can get enough influence to start helping people because other people are also trying to help people. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. I got you.
But yeah, I still do want a lot of money.
All right. Before we let you go,
I
want to ask you our last question. Who are you listening to? Who's in your playlist right now?
Oh my God, hold on, I have to look at it. I'm really bad about remembering the names. I'm listening to Beauregard. I don't know if you guys know who Beauregard is.
I want to say, did you tweet about him the other day?
I did. He has a song called Beyonce Knows.
Yeah.
And actually Earth Gang just shouted him out on.
Yeah,
that's why we were tweeting about it.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, bro, I know this name. Like, I know I like made sure I was like went and saved something just so I could go back and listen later.
Bro, Beauregard is dope. He's kind of he reminds me of, he's got this weird like Slick Rick style voice. And like that's my shit, bro. Just that crazy like vocal tone, that weird inflection, like I love that. But him, let's see. I'm listening to a lot of girls, man. I've been listening to Doja Cat a lot. Tierra Whack.
Oh, she's dope.
Fire.
Bruh, these women are crazy. Ari Lennox, of course.
Fire.
Normani is big right now in my head. She's just crazy with it. But locally, I listen to a lot of local music. I listen to anyone that sends me their music. So like I end up getting into these crazy like tunnels. But like have you Coda the Friend? He's a little bit more bigger that I'm listening to. And Cam the Artisan, Wiley from Atlanta. It's crazy, man. I just listen to so much random stuff. That's really it right now. That's kind of the whole playlist. A whole bunch of women who are killing hip hop right now. And then a whole bunch of random people from like, I go on YouTube and I type in music videos and then I sort by the day that it was released. And so I'll watch and I'll sort it by that day. So like, it'll be like videos with 1,000, 2,000 views. And then 2 weeks later have like 2 million, 3 million. Like I found this artist Chewy the other day. I think he's a West cat, Sacramento, I think. And he's got a lot of good plays, got a lot of good songs. I think that the independent scene is growing super hard.
Yeah, it's I feel like a lot of people have realized that you don't need a label at this point because a lot of things can be done by yourself in the sense of like marketing and distribution and just like, especially with distribution, because not a lot of people need, like, you don't need to move a CD. You just need to be able to upload something on DistroKid, and then once it's on DistroKid, you make your money off of there, you know?
No, 100%, man. I literally, like, my whole release, everything, all these videos, everything we do is through me and then a couple of the homies that help. Like, I've got 2 directors, Shy O and Goody, who shoot all of my music videos. And then I have one of my homies named Salathiel. Me, I own a camera. My homie Charlie owns a camera. And we literally, like, not even as a label, like, we just, like, catch each other out at shows or be at the house together and be like, yo, shoot this for me real quick. Or, hey, let's do this video real quick. And, like, that's the only way we got the appearance that, like, there's a machine behind us. But, like, I be sitting here till, like, 4 a.m. cutting videos of myself and then uploading it. But I think what rappers are losing right now, I think where a lot of young rappers are losing, I think there's let me rephrase that, because I think there's 2 groups of young rappers right now. I think there's young rappers who are, like, working their ass off every single day and they're treating it like a job, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I think there's another set of young rappers who aren't taking it as serious and popping off on, like, luck sometimes.
It's because, I don't want to say it's because, like, we've grown into, like, meme culture, but, like, it's easier for someone to do, like, oh, let me just throw my song on a TikTok and then see where it goes. And then a lot of people kind of generate, like, views and clicks off of that, rather than, like, guys that are, like, constantly going to shows that are working on promotional deals, that are, like, trying to find small, like, clothing brands to, like, help promote them and do stuff, like, doing those, like, small business moves that will actually help them learn in the industry, rather than just like, oh, let me sit down and make a meme and see where this takes me.
Yeah, and I think Lil Nas X was, like, the first, like, in my opinion, the first real meme artist who kind of cross over to, like, being a real artist of himself, which is really cool, because I'm a total advocate for Lil Nas X's sound, because he's doing all kinds of crazy stuff with it. But I think that there's a whole line of people behind him who are just, like, trying to do the weirdest things to get big off rap. And I'm one of those people that hip hop found when they were young, you know? Like, I didn't know anything about hip hop until I think I was 11. I mean, I knew about it, like, I'd heard songs, but I think I was 8 when I started writing, like, poems, stuff like that. But, like, 11 or 12, I got an Infamous CD. Mobb Deep, Infamous. And hip hop found me that way. And I got so deep into, like, what the culture is that, like, I feel disrespected by meme rappers sometimes. Like, just the people who don't take it that seriously, because to me, hip hop is life.
Right.
You know, like, it's not just, like, it's not music. It's not just music. It's not just fashion. It's literally life.
Right.
And
it
like,
was like, was it Lute, I think, said hip hop saved my life is such a cliche quote. And then he just kind of, like, went on about, like, how hip hop saved his life. Cause it's like, it's a culture. It's like, you can't not be a part of hip hop if, like, you can't not understand the culture if you're a part of it. And then some people just kind of come in and they're like, well, this is the popular thing that's going around, it's turned into popular music, so then they just kind of like, let me get my cash real quick and dip.
And
like, nah bro, like, we got fucking, like, history and facts and shit like that. Like, we have a culture.
Yeah, I'd be so against that too. Like, I'd be so against the idea that, like, I don't know, man. Like people are. I don't think people have negative intentions all the time. Like, they don't mean to be culture vultures. You know, not all the time. Some people definitely do, but, like, I think that some people just don't understand the depth of it. Like, they don't understand how deep the roots of hip hop have intertwined into life. You know, at least for, like, the people who really, like, want it to prosper. And I think that goes back to, like, us talking about the name and lights and stuff. I honestly just want to be a good representation of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in terms of music and stuff, I just want people to look back on the music that I do, past all the emotionals and all that, and be like, yo, that was a part of the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's big to me. That's big to me for the people I listen to too. Like I'll listen to an album, and if I feel like this like I'll give every rapper a chance, but like if it's a meme rapper and they come out disrespecting the culture in an interview, I promise you I won't ever listen to them again. Like
Big facts.
I've been listening to Corday. That's the person I was trying to remember.
YB and Corday?
Yes,
Bro, that Lost Boy was the fucking shit.
bro, Corday and Anderson .Paak have like
Yes.
destroyed my brain recently.
Yes.
Rex Life Raj, if y'all haven't heard of him, he's a West Coast dude. The West Coast, man, their independent scene is crazy.
Bro, they're really on the up and up right now.
Yeah, like crazy. But yeah, man, that's what I've been on.
Yo, with that, tell the people where they can get at you, like Instagram, and shout out anyone that you need to shout out.
Word. All my social media is at TRVYF. Trvy. I don't know why I took the E out, but it seemed real cool because people were doing like GVNG. And I was like, well, let me be cool out here. But shout out Follow the Yacht. That's my family. We got a project coming out sooner than later. It's like next month, I think. We like to just drop stuff. Shout out my homie A-Ray Voss. We got a project coming out. So I want to say this for anybody actually listening and who likes my music. I got like 3 more projects coming out this year that I'm a part of. It's less like, I think what I want people to know is like Aura is my sound. And then like, I love to get in the studio with other people and create new sounds. So like the Yard, we have a full cohesive sound. Me and A-Ray got this crazy sound coming out. And then a couple other things supposed to drop at the end of the year, but shout out all those people. Shout out my girl XL Chorty. Shout out Dormville for having me.
Appreciate it.
Like, I love y'all, man. I love everything about this culture and everything about what we doing. So shout out everybody, man.
Yo,
that's really
much love, bro. Much love. Yo, we appreciate you for coming on.
Appreciate that, bro. Thank y'all for having me.
Raised in the belly of the beast. I've been trying to kick some habits with the devil on me, but I'm just trying to hold it down. And a lot of people talk. But they don't always come around. I've been waiting for the day. But they don't always come around. You do the things you say. But they don't always come around. Why you treat it like a game? Yeah. Why you treat it like a game? Raised in the belly of the beast. Trying to kick some habits, but the devil on me. Dealing with the thoughts that maybe out of peak, but when I'm running for it, don't seem that out of reach. I'm just trying to get the click with the rose gold rollies on their wrist. Just like in the movies, cause I know what the truth is. Life ain't really that easy. It ain't nothing like the movies. I bet they gon' shoot me for the shit.